risked everything looking for you.
You're not ready.
I took on a man twice my size and won. I'll fight you all if I have to.
No, can't be. Yeah, it's even worse. Howdy, y'all. I'm Adam, the Renaissance Nerd. I honestly didn't think this show could get any worse. This truly is horrific. Because here we are. This is Halo Episode 7. We've come very far in our journey through this apocalyptic abomination of the Halo franchise. We've seen the Master Chief turned into a crying, quivering, girl-bossed around shadow of what he should be. We call him John. Insert whatever made-up name, funny name you have for him. I just call him John. We've seen girl bosses running wild. We've seen the lore trampled on in terms of what the Halo is, what it might be, how you find it, everything connected to it. It's all been trampled. Original characters coming in, characters that are known being transformed into versions that are unrecognizable. But throughout it all, there has been at least one thing, the constant thing that makes a Halo show, or anything Halo related. The one necessary ingredient to making Halo Halo. I mean, I think you understand what that is. I'll give you a moment, think it over. Some of you who are stands and stupid and maybe coming to this to look for another reason to hate on me, I'll give you a moment too because, well, maybe you need a whole day because you're slow in the head. But I'll give you the answer now. The one necessary ingredient to a Halo show, to Halo anything, the Master Chief, John 117. You kind of need the Master Chief to have Halo. I know one game he sort of wasn't there and he was sharing this spotlight with other Spartans, but the Master Chief is still kind of necessary to making Halo Halo. So in this episode, big old goose egg, no Master Chief. And oh, I'm sorry, Stans. The dream sequence, the spiritual journey version of Master Chief doesn't count. That wasn't the Master Chief. It was not John, not even John. This was all Kwan all the time. That's right, folks. We got an entire episode of the show's most disliked, insufferable character. And she doesn't improve. They even show you a little bit of backstory. They put her through her little journey here. And she's supposed to come out smelling like roses when we're all supposed to be behind Kwan and support Kwan. No, she learns nothing. She behaves the same. She is still an insufferable, cow-mouthed little bitch. And she treats everybody like shit. And Soren, who was the most relatable character in this show to date, he's done. He's done because he had his balls taken away from him by Kwan. And the way they wrote this. When for a moment, they were showing that Soren could be a badass. But no. Gotta be Kwan, because this is a hero's journey. And they hit all the marks of being a hero's journey. We're going to go through it. But before that, we will look at Soren's little bit of his own little tiny little bit of story, because there's the A plot that is Kwan time, and then there's Soren, and then it's back into Kwan time. They come back together. But it's just so poorly written, so poorly developed. Clearly, it's supposed to be a mini redemption arc, a coming to understand yourself, understand your purpose story here. But she's unlikable. She's horrible. She's a terrible character, a terrible person. But we're supposed to relate to her? So as we go through this, and before we reach the end, I'm going to ask this again. I challenge any stan, the defenders of the Silver Timeline. How can you possibly say this show is Halo? It's just from a different perspective. You can't. You can't. All right. Let's get this show on the road. Oh, my God.
I thought you could fill my shoes.
Soren was perhaps the, as I said, only relatable character in this entire show because he treated everybody as we want to treat them, with disrespect. And earned. Everybody in this show earns his disrespect because they're all jerks and assholes, and he's just an asshole we can understand and relate to. What they did to him in this episode is suck all that relatability away from him by cucking him in the end of it. But before he gets cucked, he has his own little B-plot away from Kwan. Soren is back on his pirate base magically. I'm going to touch on that in a moment. He's magically back there. Meanwhile, as opposed to Kwan, is still driving off into the desert. We'll cover that in a moment. Soren's given a party, basically telling a big fat lie about why he doesn't have any money, why he doesn't have his ship, and how he got hurt, and how he survived, and why Kwan isn't there. Big fat lie. One of his underlings isn't happy, tries to challenge him, and Soren basically plays it off and tries to pass it over, but secretly he's seething. And then he makes nice with his underling and says, oh, we'll do your big job. And then the big job is done. And Soren puts his big dick on the table and says, I'm still the chief around here. I've got you under my thumb still. Don't try to take over. That's it. That's Soren's B-plot. Ending with his wife guilting him into going back and helping Kwan. Boom. There's Soren's entire plot for this episode up until reuniting with insufferable little cunt bitch. Lame, boring. For a moment, Soren looks cool. He's going to lose all his coolness in about 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whenever we get to that part of the episode review. But what I want to talk about here is the fact that we see Soren at this party. Clearly, some time has passed. He had to get on another ship, get off Madrigal, go however far it is, to then get back to his pirate stronghold, which is supposed to be a secret, how he took a ship out of... But that had to take time. Days, in fact, one would logically assume. But when we see that Kwan is still just kind of driving off into the desert after having ditched him and stolen his gun and his car and this and that, he still has days to do stuff on his pirate station. As opposed to what's going on with Kwan seems to happen in one night. When we get to that, we're going to get to that. Days go by on the pirate station. Because he goes on he's been there, took time to get there, did clearly a little bit of recuperation, then had enough time to go and do a job, and then go back, and then get back to Madrigal. This show represents one of the most egregious, what's a good word for it? One of the most egregious mistakes that modern day science fiction writers and many writers in general on television seem to not comprehend, that time has to pass between separate storylines, especially if those storylines are going to reconnect. Time has to pass. There is no way that Kwan's little adventure, as we're going to discuss in a moment, happens in sync with Soren getting back to her when he does. It doesn't make any sense. But then again, these are people that don't think about writing. They just do things because reasons. Soren has to reassert himself and then get back to Kwan in time to be a part of her storyline. They've never even told us how long it takes from slip space to get from one point to another in slip space. No, they haven't even established that. So by their metrics, as we see it, slip space instantaneous might as well be a freaking wormhole, a freaking folding in space where you get back from A to B and just right away you're there. Boom, bang, pow. Oh my, it doesn't make any sense. And as a storyteller, it is frustrating. I mean, I use all tricks possible to make you understand when I do something that time has passed from between two separate storylines where different characters are doing stuff. These people don't know what they're doing. And they clearly have not even respect for the characters they've created and what they do to Soren in this. Because we're going into Kwan. And by the time we're done with Kwan, Soren is cucked. He's not a man anymore. They make him look like he's a man, but he's not after what goes down during the final scene. Oh boy, when we get to that final battle scene, we're gonna rip that apart. But first, before all of that, let us go back to Kwan as she goes to girl boss camp. I shit you not.
Princess, you're dying out there.
I'm not a princess!
Are you ready? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Kwan? None of us are. None of us want her. She's terrible. Okay. Ooh. We got a lot here. This is basically the whole episode now. It's all Kwan. This whole thing, as I said in preamble, this whole episode is supposed to make you relate to Kwan, to feel her anguish and pain, to feel her struggle, to understand that she wants and needs to grow, and that when she does understand that she's in the wrong, she's still in the right because she's given a purpose and she still treats everybody like dog shit. Kwan, everybody. So they go all the way back to before she got her SJW haircut, when she actually has normal hair. A little flashback, and it's like this family dinner with her father and his generals and this and that, and a new guy comes in. And let's just say she's treating everybody like shit during this. Basically, I hate you all. I know better. Don't talk to me about this. Don't talk to me about that. Blah, 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 blah. That's all you need to know in that moment. That she was insufferable even before we met her officially in the show. Insufferable cunt bitch. So now we flash back to the present, and she's driving into the desert. Now, she must have been doing that for days without supplies, because no water, no food that we could see. Because remember, Soren, he's been gone for days to be able to get back to his little pirate rock and don't go on missions and this and that. She's been driving for days, apparently. She's driving directly into a sandstorm in a vehicle with no cover. It's just, okay, whatever. Go forward. She drives into it and immediately thinks she sees shadows in the sand. She can see shadows in the sandstorm, so she drives to a halt. And then she quickly gets head bagged over and dragged away. And she arrives, when she wakes up, she is literally at Girl Boss Whammon Camp. Look at it. She's at Girl Boss Whammon Camp. Nothing but whammon all over the place of all shapes. No, they're all fit. We give them this. They're all fit. They're not all shapes. You're being mean to fat people, Halo show. Where are the fat women at Fat Women Camp? I can't take this seriously. I really can't. She's at Women Camp. Okay, but they have all races. There's plenty of diversity at Women Camp. Girl Boss Women Camp. I'm sorry. Oh my God. She's at Girl Boss Whammon Camp. I can't get past this. And as you saw in the intro clip, as soon as she realized, oh, you're the witches that my father saw, she launches into a tirade in usual Kwan fashion, yelling at everybody, trying to boss them around, demanding this, demanding that. And you give black women in charge, we give her credit that she's like, no, you shut up. You're not ready to hear what we have to say. Although, even though she says over and over again, you're not ready, she still gives her the trial as though she were ready. So it's like, okay, we're about to go through the checklist of the Huro story, okay? The Huro story where you don't really learn anything. You get affirmed of how great you are. You get told you're better than everybody that came before you. And then you still treat everybody like shit and boss everybody around and can do things that you shouldn't be able to do, especially when you're a 95-pound little whammon girl boss in training. Girl boss camp. Girl boss camp. She's in girl boss camp. I'm sorry. Oh my god. Girl boss camp. Losing it. I'm losing it. This show has got to be all of a sudden. This isn't even another take. This is the one take I'm doing on this right here. Oh my god. Girl boss camp. All right, I gotta get control of myself. We have to get through this. So they take her into a tent and night falls. I mean, this isn't one night. This all happens in one night. And black girl boss in charge turns fire into water and says, now you will drink this. And Kwan drinks it, and it's clearly filled with mystical, magical power. And she goes into a dream state. She wakes up. We're back in episode 1. She's on the ship with Master Chief. And then we could call him Master Chief because he still had his helmet on back then. He hadn't taken his helmet off yet. And he lets her out of the cell, and they walk off into the desert. And suddenly they're back at Whammon Camp. We're back at Whammon Camp. And they're all there. And here comes Crazy Dude from Soren's little crazy person jail. And this is all a dream state. This is like a peyote-filled vision quest is what this is. Kwan is on a vision quest to find her purpose, everybody. And she is told now she has to fight Master Chief because she's filled with so much rage. You have to channel your rage. You have to conquer your rage. So she, in classic Kwan fashion, thinking that this is real, decides to attack the Master Chief. And in what is maybe the only good part of this episode, Master Chief kills her over and over again with like one punching her out over and over again. And it's great. And you saw at one point, crazy black dude with giant teeth goes, "Are you doing okay, princess?" "I'm not a princess. Don't call me a princess." And she just tries until she does this several times with a gun and a rock and a dagger. And Chief just keeps beating the shit out of her. And it's glorious because she deserves to die. This character deserves to die because she's an insufferable little bitch. We get to it last where she gives up. She starts going the classic, "What do you want from me? What do you want from me?" And then suddenly, even though it's not really the Master Chief, and it's not even John, even if he's not even in the episode for real, they still have to take his helmet off as he extends a hand to her. Remember what I told you in last review? Whenever he takes his helmet off and leaves it behind along with his armor, that is the metaphor for him leaving his cock and balls behind for women to take from him. So once again, he takes his helmet off, and suddenly, as we blip to them now walk through the desert, he's taken his armor off. So in a sense, the Master Chief, once again, even a manifestation of the Master Chief, a manifestation of John, still gives away his cock and balls to Kwan. And now here comes a major moment of what I assume, somebody correct me, some of you who are much more versed in Halo lore than I am, although I do recognize one thing we're about to see. They're going to break the lore, again, wide open of Halos in general. Now, we're talking the Halo, the actual structure, the Halo, how to get there. Fake John, Vision Quest John, leads Kwan into the desert because what we learned about Kwan's history is that her grandfather, during the early days of the Madrigal settlement colony, went off into the desert and drilled a well, but found something special out there. And what he found needed to be protected. And that is the purpose of Clan Kwan, to protect Madrigal. Because as her great-great-great-great-great-grandfather turns and says this, speaking in Korean, mind you, speaking in Korean, because you got to speak in Korean, because, inclusion, diversity. Tells Kwan that I've been waiting for you. Welcome to this, and this is what we are here for, protect us. But as we arrive on the scene, oh, look what's hovering above the well. A Halo probe. Looks like, well, I'm not going to say it's a guilty spark, but it's a Halo probe, one of the Forerunner probes that monitor and control halos. He's talking to it, hit nine nods, and it disappears down the well. And we learn that the well is a portal. Since when is there a portal to a halo? Somebody please inform me. You get to halos by traveling through space. And I'm going to talk about how this kind of redefines halos in the post game. When we're done with the overall discussion here. I'm gonna ask this question. I'm gonna pose this as I see it. So now the purpose of Clan Kwan, as now we see the generations of her ancestors coming towards her until it's her father, and then we have to have hug the father moment, which isn't bad, but it's then ruined in 2 seconds as we hit the next check mark in a hero's journey. We learn that it is Clan Kwan's purpose to protect this because says it right there. He will come back and you will need to lead him. You will show him the way. Hero's journey check mark. She is the girl who is the key to everything. Kwan has now reached that mark in her hero's journey. She is the girl who's the secret to everything. She is the one that will lead John to the halo. Now, I am not against girl key to everything. I use it myself. Hell, it's a part of the first story that I'm introducing you guys, my Rosetta Chronicles. I have to do it. It's an entryway, but it's the only time I do it. I'm not going to do it again. Trust me. Well, maybe one more time, sort of, but by then it's earned. There's nothing wrong with a girl who's the key to everything. It's a classic trope, a classic theme, but you have to do it in a way that's clever, in a way that's not insulting to the reader or the viewer, the customer. And it has to be centered on a character that's likable. Kwan is not likable. We want her to be Minecrafted off the show. We don't want her here. We hate her. But she's the key to everything. It's her destiny to lead John to the halo. Oh, but here comes another check mark, because while she's talking with Daddy Kwan, he tells her that she's great and that she's going to be great and that she's going to be greater than he is. So check Hero's story box number 2. Affirmation. Here comes the affirmation. Remember, it started in the beginning of the series where they affirmed how great Kwan was. Well, here's the ultimate affirmation. Daddy says you're perfect and wonderful, brave and beautiful. Wonderful. Mazel tov. Bravo. So Kwan has her purpose. Her rage is gone. She understands everything. She's a protector. She's the protector of Madrigal because it's her destiny. And she's going to be better than everybody. Unbelievable. How lame and stupid. So she wakes up and now you understand. You must go back to where it all began, which means back where the series started at the camp where the Covenant attacked. Meanwhile, angry, evil, patriarchal white guy warlord who's in charge of Madrigal is so deathly afraid of Kwan that he's tripled the bounty on her, and everybody's got to find her. A grown man with an army of thugs at his back is afraid of a 16-year-old girl who hasn't proven once that she can do anything. Until now. He finds her eventually. We're going to skip over all his stuff because all it matters is that he eventually finds her. He tracks her back to the city. Magically, she's driven back there in maybe one night. Kwan has been doing her little thing for a night. And now remember, Soren has been doing other things for days, between traveling from planet to planet, to place, doing a job. He's been gone for days in reality when you look at this. But she arrives there, and after she finds some notes that are going to probably lead her to the teleportation well, there's Soren! Out of nowhere! Boop! Here's Soren! And basically, let the cucking of Soren begin.
I know another way. As soon as I get the gas flowing, I'll make a break for the vault. Count to 5 and take the shot right at the base of the sky pipe.
At last, we arrive at the climactic battle at the ruins of the Madrigal factory, where we first met Kwan in the beginning of this Halo franchise, series, TV, whatever the fuck you want to call this piece of abomination crap. So, evil patriarch, white guy warlord arrives with his couple dozen thugs, it looks like, at least between 20, 24 guys. And Soren, like, whatever, I'm an ex-Spartan. I can take this guy. I can take these guys. One's like, no, you can't. You're gonna die. I have a plan. And Soren just says, okay, fine, little 95-pound girl who's never actually fought in her life, who didn't care about the struggle for her planet until the story needed her to care about it. Okay, little girl, tell me your plan. Oh, we'll trigger the gas from the mine, and then we're gonna blow it all up and incinerate everybody, and we'll go hide out in a steel box out front there that'll withstand the flames. Because a Spartan can't take out a few guys. Yes, he's not a fully trained Spartan. He's only got part of the armor. It's a previous generation. But the dude is still superhuman. Soren is still a superhuman. He's not normal. And he has experience. He has fought in battles. He grew up out in the wild west of the cosmos as a pirate. He made his bones. He knows how to fight, knows how to win battles. But no, he's going to listen to 95-pound little girl boss who's completed her training. She has completed her training. She went to girl boss camp, and she has completed her training, where now she can boss everybody around. And lo and behold, he cucks. Someone's like, okay. And now there's a little taunting between evil patriarchal warlord and Kwan. It's like, I am Kwan Ha. I will get you. Completely insufferable. So, bottom line right now is battle ensues. And for the first part of this battle, we're going to criticize the battle as we go along because it'll take too long for me to tell it and go back. I'll criticize it as we go along. And this battle is written by people, one, who don't understand how a fight would work with a superhuman involved. Two, clearly don't understand that they don't understand how it would work from the game. If you want to pay homage to the game, there's moments there, and also common sense in a moment this where you are outgunned and outmatched in terms of numbers and firepower. And I've been saving this criticism until now. This is 500 years in the future. Why does Soren use a revolver that has a limit of 6 shots? I think it's the 6 shoot. He's got 2 pistols this time because Kwan gives him his colorful one back. And not only when she goes back, she says, remember to save a bullet to shoot the reactor. Fuck you. He's using a revolver. And then he doesn't even use it until sort of the end, but he just uses a revolver. This is the future. Future warfare. Everybody else in this little combat zone, they have high-powered rifles. Nope, Soren's got his revolver, and he breaks out a knife during the fight. So while Kwan is trying to find her way through a tunnel system below, Soren begins to, for a moment, do badass shit. I'll give him that. Soren proceeds to systematically take out these guys in 2s and 3s in efficient Spartan killing fashion. They can't beat this guy. He is just stronger, faster, better than they are. And for a moment, you realize, for a moment, I thought, wait a minute. Is Soren actually going to take out all these dudes before Kwan finishes her stupid plan? And for a moment, you think he might actually do it because he's winning. But then here comes the failure. Like I said, these are guys with high-powered guns. And yes, it's a close quarters thing. Okay, use a knife, fine. But then look at this right here. Soren has just finished wiping the floor with another batch of guys. What does he do? Doesn't bother to pick up their high-powered rifles and start using them. And this is a Spartan. He could probably dual wield, even with his grotesque morphed hand, he could still probably dual wield without worry of kickback 2 high-powered futuristic rifles and just start going to town on these guys. Nope. Let's not even pay homage to the game where as you come across better weapons, you pick them up in a Halo game. It's what you do. You come across a better weapon, and especially in Halo 2 where you can have double weapons, you pick up extra weapons and you have an arsenal. Nope, I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to leave my knife in a dude's chest. He leaves his knife in somebody's chest. And he only has his revolvers. And he only seen me even use one of them. He didn't even use both of them. He had 2, is only using 1 by the end of the battle. So while at first Soren is using strategy, using good tactics, and moving around, doing stealthy shit, breaking dudes' necks, knifing them to death, he's leaving guns behind. And then at the very end, after Kwan emerges from the tunnel, finally, and triggers the process, he then stupidly runs out of cover where they can all see him, and he proceeds to get shot and lose his revolver, which takes time to reload, even if he's got the all-in-one the 6-in-1 reload thing, the revolver clip, I guess you would call it. He gets shot, and he's damaged. And Kwan, they see her coming, and now here is the ultimate insult. Again, these people saw something in a game. Let's once again steal not only a man's moment, a masculine heroic moment from a dude, which, maybe Soren would have done this and it would have been okay, but let's steal an ultimate Master Chief tactic that I used often when I played Halo 1. It's one of my favorite things to do. Remember when you fight the Covenant, you could pick up their weapons. If you've run out of your regular grenades, your standard human-type grenades, explosive, Covenant have their own grenades. The sticky grenade. One of the most fun and awesome things to do in Halo 1, which is most of my experience with Halo, is to take a sticky grenade, throw it on a grunt, and watch them freak out as they can't get it off, and then watch it explode. It's a fun thing to do. Kwan, in her infinite luck, finds a Covenant sticky grenade, and she sticks it on the back of a dude, and you watch him going, oh, what's this on my back? I can't get it off. And he explodes in very uncomic fashion. See, now, if these people had even an ounce of knowledge of the games, they would have pulled off this little gimmick 2 episodes ago during the battle for the artifact and had Master Chief throw a sticky grenade on a grunt, and would have been a nice little nod to actual Halo fans to watch a grunt go. That would have been a smile-inducing moment. But nope, here's Kwan is the one to use the sticky grenade on just a regular dude who's like. Then it gets even worse, and here comes the unrealistic concept that these people don't understand how guns work, let alone how maybe a futuristic gun would work, especially if it's, as I'm going to show you now, made for a Spartan. So Kwan and Soren are in trouble. Kwan ducks for cover, lands under a piece of machinery, and what does she find? John's assault rifle that he ditched, which, if I remember correctly, he ditched because it was out of ammo in episode 1. Pretty sure it was out of ammo, which is why he picked up the minigun in episode 1 and mowed down his Covenant. So she finds it under, because it says 117 on it. She picks it up. Now, first of all, that's an assault rifle made for a Spartan. That thing probably weighs a lot because it's high-powered for Spartan use. She picks it up like it's nothing.
Failed Spartan, mediocre pirate, and now martyr for the delusion of an orphaned young girl.
Spartan assault rifle should have sent her flying. And she saves Soren, who's been caught. This Kwan saves the day. Her idea is perfect. Soren was proved wrong. He couldn't take them all. Little 95-pound girl with a Spartan rifle that she shouldn't even be able to pick up saves the day. So all patriarchal evil white warlord is dead. All his goons are dead. The day is saved, and here comes the water from the explosion. For a moment, you see black girl boss camp counselor nodding in approval that her latest pupil has achieved girl boss status. And then the water comes down, and Kwan is washed of her rage. She's been purified. And then you cut to this stupid, cheesy scene where Kwan and Soren say goodbye, and she's keeping the Spartan rifle, which why? Because it should have been out of ammo. And then where are you going to get ammo for that? That has probably specifically designed ammo you can only get from if you're armed from wherever the Spartans get their shit. You know, I'm sorry. This is dumb. This is so dumb. But she keeps it, and she's like, "You're a pain in the ass, but I still like you. You want to work for me?" Soren's like, "You're a pain in the ass too, and God help me if I ever see you again." That's like the one last good thing Soren says as he then takes the ship and leaves because she's paid him with her riches. And now Kwan's off to become a freedom fighter leader, waiting for her moment to lead John to the promised land of the Halo. And let's talk about that in our post game.
Take care, kid.
We'll see each other again.
God, I hope not.
The story of Kwan, the hero's journey in perfect, full display for all of us to see. And that's what this was. As I said, this is a classic version of the hero's journey, where she gets handed everything. She's told how brave and beautiful she is and how she's going to be the bestest ever, greater than everybody else that came before her. And on top of that, she is the chosen one, the girl who's the key to everything, who will lead our supposed hero, John, to the promised land of the Halo. This is not how you tell a story. This is not how you develop a character. This is not how you do a hero's journey. This is not how you build somebody up and make them accessible to the viewer. Kwan is everything that's wrong with the show. She is, when you look at it closely, she is the catalyst for everything that goes wrong because of her bad behavior since the moment we met her. Because she's an insufferable bitch who brings all her woes upon herself, she caused everything from the moment she stuck her middle finger out at the UNSC, and then the Master Chief eventually breaks bad and, knocks out his pellet from his spine and becomes an emotional train wreck that has devolved from what should have been the Master Chief into just John, as we call him in these reviews. Kwan is insufferable. She's terrible. She hasn't deserved anything she's gotten, except when Vision Quest Master Chief punched her in the face over and over again. She deserved that because she's a horrible character. Again, we're talking about the character, not the actress, the character. This is not what you do to earn the trust of the viewer. There's no connection to Kwan because she's a narcissist. She's selfish. She's egotistical. She's a bitch. Plain and simple. She's a bitch. She's insufferable. I say it over and over again because that's what she is. She yells at everybody, demands they do things her way, insists constantly she knows better. Even after her Vision Quest, she still tells people what to do, insisting that she knows better. I'm going to tell the well-trained warrior how to win this fight. And that well-trained warrior And that explains everything, because Soren, as a trained soldier, should have been picking up other weapons and mowing those guys down. But you can't have that happen. You can't have the man pull off awesome heroic feats, because then that would have defeated Kwan's perfect let's blow it all up plan, which might get them killed. Very, very nearly does. No, we have to make her look brilliant and perfect and make Soren look like a moron and incapable of defending himself and making bad battlefield decisions, which he shouldn't, because he wasn't a failed Spartan. He was just a partially trained Spartan who just left on his own. But then learned lessons out in the cosmos. Kwan is terrible. She's terrible. And it leads right into the destruction of the lore. What the hell is there a portal doing at the bottom of a well on a planet? I mean, oh, look, a spark. A Forerunner probe. I doubt it's Guilty Spark 343, but I'd be surprised if they even use it. But this whole concept of traveling to the Halo through a wishing well, essentially, that she is the keeper of now, the protector, that she's going to go find and make ready for Johnny. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And then I have a feeling that they have no idea what they're doing with the concept of the Halo itself. Remember the tagline from the trailer, "Find the Halo, win the war," stolen from "Find the Cheerleader, save the world." Find the Halo, win the war. They're painting the Halo in the show as some sort of paradise perfect thing that is going to save everybody. I sincerely wonder if they're going to have the Halo be what it really is. Both a prison for the Flood and a mass extinction weapon of mass destruction that could wipe out life in the galaxy when used with other Halos. I wonder if they even understand what a Halo is. That it's not a paradise. It's a fucking hellscape filled with true abomination monsters meant to do the most horrific thing ever, wipe out life in the galaxy if the Flood can't be stopped. These people said they never looked at the games. They don't know the lore. I gotta wonder, where are they going with this? We're gonna find out in 2 or 3 episodes. I don't know how many are left, but this is horrible. It is truly abominable. And again, I said at the beginning of the video, I challenge the so-called defenders, the stands, the people who have praised it constantly. Oh, it's so good. You just have to get into it. Oh, it's coming around. Oh, this is a great portrayal. These characters are alive and bright. How is this Halo without the Master Chief? How is anything in this remotely Halo related to lore at all? This entire episode was focused on characters that don't exist in the Halo lore. Is Soren 66 a Halo Spartan from the lore? I don't think so. I looked at a Halo Spartan list once. I didn't see his name on there. I could be wrong. But this whole episode was original characters that are badly written in the end and emasculated. The one guy that had some sort of masculinity to him, completely emasculated, saved by the 95-pound girl who's the key to everything and better than everyone will ever be. Greatest of all time. Bestest ever. The show is trash. If you like it, great. But I seriously suggest you take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, what's wrong in your life that you feel the need to defend this show as a Halo, a proper representation of the Halo lore franchise? Really, I ask you that. You probably don't have an answer. You're just going to read at me and tell me I'm in something or something and call me a name and tell me to go touch grass, because that's the level of the wit that you morons have. What, we got 2, 3 episodes left? I don't know. I'm going to lose my mind anyway. We're done here. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. Comment away, and if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe. And I will see you next week at episode 8, where I'm likely to descend further into madness. Take it easy, everybody. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach out to me at therennerd@gmail.com. That email's for channel business only, so I check it on a daily basis. Also, you can find me at the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can find me at Rumble and Odyssey, The Renaissance Nerd. Thank you again. See you next time.